Hi, and welcome to We Know Everything.
Almost.
I'm Cook,
I'm Chris.
and we're here with our opinion of the news. So today we're going to be talking about different things. One of the big things I guess we're going to talk about is if you're in Mississippi, the 2nd District, because that's where one of, I guess, the most socialist congressmen still lives and still rules.
You mean Mr. Benny Thompson?
Mr. Benny Thompson. We'll call him Congressman Thompson because he's still a congressman till at least November 2nd when we have the ultimate Tea Party, as Kennedy calls it. But it's time for him to go. And if you're familiar with Benny, you'll know that he's not really helped the district a whole lot. And he'll do just about anything, I think, that the Democrats want. And if there's a bill that comes up that wants spending, he'll vote for it. If there's a bill for taxation, he'll vote for it. If there's something for cutting, forget about it. He won't do it.
On open Congress, he votes with the Democrats 93% of the time.
Yeah, I think since Nancy's been in there, it's 99%. It's gone up.
Well, he and Miss Nancy can go to bed together.
Well, thank you for putting that in my third eye.
You're
okay. All right. Keeping around Mississippi, we have some hope and change that has finally come out. According to hotair.com and theexaminer.com, the A-Whale ship has arrived in the Gulf. That's the big ship from South Korea that is supposed to double the cleaning efforts that has been done in the Gulf so far.
So did BP accept this help, or is this the government?
I think they're still working out the details on it. The ship's in the Gulf, but nobody has said yet if it's going to start working. It has to be close to the actual pump where the oil is coming out because it has to refine the clean oil. And the problem is that there's all kinds of other ships there, congestion and everything, so they're going to have to figure out where to put it. And apparently this thing is supposed to be pretty huge. It's like 4 or 5 football fields long.
So is the plan to load everything on the big boat and then use the smaller boats to transport it off?
Well, I think they're going to use the weight. It's called the A-Whale, and I think they're going to use it near the actual site, and then the smaller boats will be up closer to the marshes and the shore and everything because it has to do more of the cleaner oil as it comes out. Once it gets to sludge, more of the sludge type stuff, it can't do that. So it's going to be working on the oil that's coming strictly more out of the ground.
Anything we can do helps.
Anything. Finally, they're accepting help. Now, they haven't accepted help now for, 70 days since it started because of the Jones Act. Those of y'all not familiar with the Jones Act basically says Americans are the only ones that can do ships. If it's not built here, if it's not run by an American company, we can't use it in the Gulf. But, of course, that can be waived very easily. Bush did it during Katrina. But apparently because Obama is loyal to the unions, he won't waive it, and so that the unions will do the work. So we'll see what happens in the next few months and stuff. Hopefully, we get some conservatives in Congress that will help overrule a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. And on more of a local note here in Mississippi as well, the Mississippi Congress and Senate passed a bill today that is restricting over-the-counter sales of pseudoephedrine.
Good question.
It's an essential ingredient in making crystal methamphetamine, which is a key drug here in abused in Mississippi. And it was unaware to me, but talking to the Highway Patrol and reading this article, I-20 that runs from Jackson, from Vicksburg to Jackson through Pearl and Brandon and stuff, is actually one of the key gateways to get drugs from Atlanta, which is the main hub for illegal drugs, into the west, and from the west into the east, out of Mexico, that kind of stuff. And the problem with the bill is, even though it stops, sales here in Mississippi and will cut back on the number of meth labs, which is higher in Mississippi than any other state, it is...
All right, we're number one again.
Always on the top of the bad list. But all you have to do is ride the Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, go to your local Walmart, and you can buy them again.
Yeah.
So the main reason they're doing this is because most child abuse cases in Mississippi are a result of crystal meth. More than alcohol, more than marijuana, more than any other drug is crystal meth. So as long as it's for the children, I can go to my doctor and get a prescription for some, something to stop my nose from running.
At least, you have to have a prescription now. So that makes it a legal drug, right?
Yes.
So, all right, but it can still be used.
Oh, still can be used.
Yeah.
There is if you don't have it without a prescription. I mean, I don't know if the process is. It hadn't said whether if you get pulled over and you got a box of it, what's the law, or if you bought it before the bill took place, what happens?
Yeah, they never cover that until after it already happens.
Yep.
All right, now these next two stories are kind of related in a way. Mine's talking about Obama. Talking today, he came out saying that being American is not a matter of blood or birth. I guess he's kind of covered himself. He's included himself in that since it's not a matter of birth. But, to me, if you read the Constitution, it is a matter of birth and it is a matter of blood. If you're a naturalized citizen, a natural citizen, you were born here, and your ancestors have American blood in it. Now, of course, everybody's got a little bit of, other blood in it.
European,
Asian.
African,
Asian, wherever, you're from. But, for generations who have been here, even if it's only one or two generations, your parents came over legally, things like that, they're still, American born. I saw an article, a news report off CBS. It was on, I think, resistnet.com, talking about how there's a couple down in Arizona that's having to leave because they're afraid the new bill is going to have them arrested. They've been in Arizona for 15 years. Still cannot speak English. Had to have a translator during the thing. But have had 10 kids since they've been here.
And how much aid from the government are they getting?
Yeah, they're all getting that because they're unemployed now. They've worked in restaurants and stuff, but they're unemployed now. But they're having to move because of the Arizona bill. They're afraid that they're going to be arrested now. And the statistic they used on it said that Arizona has about 580,000 illegal aliens, and about 100,000 have already moved out. So there's somebody else's problem. So tell me this bill is not working when it hasn't even gone into effect yet, and yet 100,000 of them have moved out. Hopefully they haven't come to Mississippi. Maybe they're going somewhere else. This lady said she was going to go to Colorado or somewhere up there. So
California will take them.
Yeah, really. Let California have them. So go ahead. Now, go on with yours.
On a related story, the judge in Arizona that is, I guess, going to preside over the case between the federal government and Arizona has allowed Mexico to come in and give their opinion. Why are we letting Mexico give their opinion on an American issue on an American court? I have no idea, but the judge seems to allow it, and if the judge is like that, it may not be looking good for Arizona in the law. Yeah,
well, the thing is, experts have looked at the Arizona law, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's stricter on law enforcement than the federal law.
Only takes 10 minutes to read it. It's only, 12 pages?
Right, and I think, I don't know if Obama still hasn't read it, I don't think, but he's still criticizing it. Most of the administration hadn't read it when it...
Eric Holder admitted last week he hasn't read it.
So it's, they can't read a 12-page bill to find out that there's nothing wrong with it.
But they can cram a 15,000-page health care bill down our throats?
Yeah, well, they didn't read it either, so...
No.
All right, some other news, going back to the oil. Obama is getting back to where, he shut down all the drilling in the Gulf. And then a federal judge overruled him, said you can't do that. Just because one goes bad doesn't mean all the drilling rigs are going to go bad. So he worked his way around it. And now he has shut down 33% of the country's oil refining capacity. So, not only as he kind of got around what the judge done, he's using the EPA now to help get, his agenda done. That's why, I think one of the big things we need to do is we need to shut the EPA down, as well as many other federal agencies, and use that money where it's more needed. But
so on what grounds are they shutting them down? Does it say?
I read it. Hang on a second. I put in. He shut it to Brennett. Let's see. When I was trying to go to,
Are they going to save some species of fly?
Oh, probably not. The problem is, this is going to hurt the economy more. It's going to hurt Texas really big. But the problem is he's doing all he can to break the American economy. All right, there's nothing wrong with our oil refinery. There's nothing wrong with our drilling. We had a problem with one, drilling rig. And if they'd come in and let it burn until they figured out how to shut the oil down, would have been a problem. Because the story I've heard is because the Coast Guard came in and they dumped all that water on it trying to put it out, it made the platform tilt because it's all it is like a pontoon boat.
Yeah.
When they put the water on it, it tilted. When it tilted, it broke. And when it broke, it sank and crushed the rest of the pipe. If they'd let it burn for a few days, now that would have been some other problems, the soot and everything in the air, but it would have given time to shut the oil off or to drill another pipe, in where we could reach it, where men could actually go in and do it. So, I think, with this mishap, the government has to take part of the responsibility. Yes, there was BP's problem. They did some things wrong, they kind of cut a few corners possibly, but, the government has to take a little responsibility there because they didn't put the oil fire out right. So now our prices are gonna go up because now we can't refine the oil.
So instead of growing from this and learning from this, accepting, hey, this is the mistakes we made this time, let's start correcting ourselves so if it happens again, we now know a better way to do it.
No, he's just trying to take over more of private industry.
And not to mention all the help we've turned down from other nations to help pick up the oil.
So it's just another role of the Democrats trying to take over the American economy, destroying it, trying to bring us down to the level of the rest of the world. Whereas, we've had the most strongest economy in the world in history, in my opinion.
Because of capitalism.
Because of capitalism, because of the free market. There's problems with it, but it's like, and I forget who said it, democracy is the worst form of government except for all the rest. Well, capitalism may not be great, but it's better than anything else. One of the problems we've got to start doing is stop relying on the nanny states. The government cannot run everything. Can't run anything, hardly. I mean, look what it's done. If you go stand in line at the DMV, look what, how they run that. They can't take care of this oil crisis. This should have been done, taken care of a long time ago, and it could have been. Except that, like the immigration problem, if y'all watched the news here recently, and I forget which, it was one of the congressmen or senators from Arizona had a conversation with Obama, and said the reason that they weren't protecting the border is because they would, if they protected the border, they wouldn't vote for the new immigration reform. So I think this is where we go back to the oil drilling. The reason they're not doing that much there is because he's trying to get cap and trade passed, or cap and tax, and so that they can take more control of the energy industry. And when they do that, gas prices are going to shoot up, electricity is going to shoot up, everything's going to shoot up. And my son's going to be upset about this. Well, we won't be able to keep the air conditioner on all the time. So he likes to turn it up, or turn it down rather, until it's freezing in the house.
Well, if you're going to we have so much oil reserves here just in America between Alaska, which is the reason we got Alaska. It was considered a big flop that we spent all the money on Alaska. However, if you want to turn it now 150 years later, it could be the biggest cash crop in the world. Even Russia is sitting on enough oil reserves to surpass us, but they're not touching it. Well, why don't we touch ours? Keep the gas prices high. I don't mind paying $2.50 a gallon. Even if we tap our reserves and gas goes down to where we could afford it and stop putting money in the hands of Iran and the terrorists, even if gas could be as cheap as $1 a gallon, that's $1.50 going into the government's pocket. We could easily, within a short period of time, balance our budget and then turn around and basically pay for everything we've pretty much put ourselves in debt on and pay our debt off to China. And imagine the research that could go into cleaner fuels, and that would make the environmentalists happy.
Yep.
A couple of flies or caribou may have to die in the process, but it's for the progression of mankind.
They talk about how if we drill in Anwar, that it's going to be bad for the environment. Have y'all seen pictures of Anwar? It's just that's wilderness. There's nothing there. I mean, there's not even animals they show in the pictures they show. It's just brush, because most of it is permafrost. It's frozen ground. Whereas in Padron Bay, they said the same thing, but they drilled anyway. And and they said it was going to destroy the caribou population. But the caribou population has thrived because they have to keep the oil warm so it'll flow through the pipes. Well, the caribou hang around the pipes because the grass grows there and it's warm. And so the population has, expanded. I don't know how much it's grown. And the same could happen in Anwar. We're talking, I forget how how many millions of acres is there, and they only need like 2,000 acres to drill on. Because once they drill, they can send out pipes on the ground, and it won't affect it. So they only need about 2,000 acres out of, I forget how many millions of acres are up there. So we could do this. It's doable. They say we have enough oil in the United States territories to last for over 100 years. If we could use that, we could put people to work, people who pay taxes. That will help the government. It would help end unemployment. Bring those numbers down.
And what kind of financial impact would that have against our enemies in the Middle East that rely on our dollars being spent?
We send $700 billion, I think, a year overseas. Imagine we kept that here. That almost pay for the health care bill in 1 year, or the stimulus bill rather, in 1 year. We could take care of it. So, well,
there is good news about oil rigs being shut down and more jobs being lost, because according to Miss Pelosi, unemployment checks are a two-way street. It's killing two birds with one stone. You're putting more money in people's pockets, so they're going to go spend it. So that's going to help the economy, and you're helping motivate them to get back to work. I don't truly understand this, because if I can sit on my butt for 2 years and collect the government's money, why not do it?
Right.
And I don't understand. It creates jobs faster than any other. According to her, it creates jobs faster than any other program they have. How does it create jobs faster? I understand unemployment. You lose your job, you have family. You go a couple months, rely on the government's unemployment, and then you find a job. You go back to work, you start paying your taxes again. You're going to pay your money back. We all pay into the system, but none of us get to use it. And the Republicans are claiming that the Democrats are, using this as a means to cover up that they can't find a way to tackle the economy. Unemployment is still going up. We are in debt. So many billions of dollars, but unemployment is still going up. It's kind of tweaking off a little bit, but we have census jobs being created,
right.
And we have jobs somebody's got to write the check out and send to the.
Yeah, I think they said was it last month there was 430,000 new jobs, and 405 or some of those jobs were census jobs.
I understand the idea of unemployment checks putting money into the economy and helping out, which is true. Yeah. But how many people have just lost interest and just lost hope in finding a job?
Well, those people, they said, right now unemployment is like 9.9%, I think. But if you talk about those people, the ones that have given up you're looking at almost 17% unemployment. So what are we doing to help them? They're shutting down refineries, they're shutting down the oil rigs, they're ruining the economy along the coast. The Gulf Coast, there's the resorts, restaurants, the fishing trade, all that stuff is going down. And what do they say? Well, you can collect unemployment. When BP quits paying you, you can collect unemployment. And I just don't, I don't see it. We've got to put people in Congress this fall. America needs to wake up. Congress has like a 19% approval rating, but yet every election they keep putting them back. Let's do different this year. Let's flip the House. For those of you who don't mean it, let's kick all of them out and put in some new blood. Not just new blood, but conservative blood. So that they'll go in there, they'll cut taxes, they'll cut spending, and get the economy rolling again. It's been proven time and time again. You cut taxes, you cut spending, the economy booms. Look back at '83 when Reagan was in there. He did that. He cut taxes for the high end from 70% down to 29. and the economy boomed because, people were getting jobs. I heard today they were talking about Republicans are friends, always say how to help out business. Yeah, because business, when you help out the businesses, they hire people, that brings in the taxes, it gets unemployment down, puts people to work.
By all means, help big business. More money in my boss's pockets, the easier it is on me.
So that's that's our show this week. We hope we got across to you. We'll have more next week. This is our first show in a long time. We'll work out the kinks. We'll get a little bit better as we go, but we hope you'll tune back in. We're going to try and do this every week. So
unlike our government, we're actually going to improve ourselves.
Yeah, we're going to try and improve ourselves. So we hope you all have a great week.
Great 4th of July.
Great 4th of July coming up this weekend. And we'll hopefully, see you again next week and the week after and the week after. So from myself
and Chris,
we hope that y'all have a great time, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.
Buenas noches.